Hello, and welcome to Addicted Like Us, a podcast discussing all things written by Krista and Becca Ritchie. I'm your host, Haley, and today I have Julia, aka Reading Chemist Chronicles, with me to talk about Some Kind of Perfect, Book 10 in the Addicted series. A quick recap, I'm Haley, a longtime reader and lover of Krista and Becca's work. I'm also a part-time illustrator, and I had the privilege of working on the special edition covers for the Like Us series. Now, I just love to spend my time talking about all of my favorite books, aka anything written by Krista and Becca. So the Addicted Like Us podcast was created so I could sit down with friends and discuss all of our thoughts. So let me introduce you to Julia.
Yeah, I'm Julia. I've also been reading Kristen and Becca's books for a while. I think this is now 10 years. So yeah, I've been reading all their books
Yes.
for a while. And yeah, love all their books.
That is the perfect. Yes, we are all Krista and Becca lovers here. We love to support and we love to talk about these books. But I also just want to say a quick thank you to everyone who's listening. This will be episode 30, which is I did not think I would reach an episode 30 of this podcast. Also, I forgot to celebrate it, but September 5th was a full year of the Addicted Like Us podcast. That was the anniversary. And it went totally over my head because we were busy getting ready to do the Burn Bright launch party the day after. Julie and I were both there. But thank you all for sticking around for 30 episodes and for a full year of listening to me and all of my friends yap about these books. Also, this will be part one of the Some Kind of Perfect discussions. This one is super chunky, so there will be many parts to this podcast. So make sure you're listening in order, or you might get super confused with the timeline. We're going to try and go by year, but we'll see how long all of the podcast lengths are. And also, spoiler warning, because we're going to be digging into this book. So you're going to be spoiled. Make sure you've read Some Kind of Perfect before listening to this episode. So let me read the synopsis real quick. Falling in love was just the beginning, the conclusion to the epic 10-book series about the unbreakable strength of family, friendship, and love. Lily and Lo are back one final time. Childhood best friends and soulmates. Bryke and Daisy are back one final time. Wild risk takers and flirty adventurers. Connor and Rose are back one final time. Genius rivals and intellectual teammates. 10 years of laughter, of heartache, and love. Yeah, I forgot to do my little recap of what's happened up to this point. An entire series worth of things.
Yeah, a lot.
But we essentially left off with Lily, Lo, Reich, Daisy, Connor, and Rose all married. They've all had their weddings at this point, and they all have had at least one child. Lily and Lo have Maximoff at this point. Rose and Connor have Jane and their twins, Charlie and Beckett, and Reich and Daisy have Sully, who was the most recent to be born. She's very little at the start of Some Kind of Perfect. And I think like the really big thing to cover from like Long Way Down was that they've decided to start a docuseries called We Are Calloway that's going to just be their way of showing the public their true, like who they truly are and have full control over edits and the perception so that they've been burned by the reality show Princesses of Philly that was Kiss the Sky and the paparazzi and the media just like to, what's the right word? I don't know. Just like twist the situations in their lives to make it more salacious, and they don't necessarily have all the right facts. So We Are Calloway doc is meant to be their way of having full control of all of that. So that is basically the big thing. I'm certain we'll get like the smaller little recap things as they pop up, but there's no way that I can recap 9 books worth of events. But yeah, so we can start with chapter 1 of Some Kind of Perfect, which is, what is it, June 2018? I think so.
Yes. Yeah, June.
In
I like that they have like the before the chapters, the little like We Are
Yes,
Calloway quotes. I love the quote that like starts off
it's
from
perfect.
Lily.
I'm always going to be a sex addict, but I'm more than just sex. And this one's called, like, it's season 1, episode 1 pilot, but I love as we go further into the book, we get to see like the format for their titles. I like to try and guess and pretend what the rest of the titles are because we only get, a couple of them. But yeah, so that is Lily's big quote. It's very iconic, I think, at this point. A lot of the Some Kind of Perfect We Are Calloway quotes have become very iconic.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we start off with Lily. She kicks off with the first chapter, and it's her and Lo at Haleco offices. And what a sentence to start this book. I've never been punched in the face before, but I imagine this is how it feels. Poor Lily. Well, yeah, so I guess we can it'll come up. But another thing that happened in Long Way Down that we saw was the flower bombers that they were dealing with. It was at the very beginning, and all 6 of the core 6 throughout the course of Long Way Down experienced flower bombing, where people were just like baggies of flour and chucking it at everybody. And there were a couple, Lily and Reich, were not so lucky in that they were flower bombed with a mix of flour and cocaine. And that was kind of like the last straw and what prompted the We Are Calloway discussion. But they have not caught anybody up to this point. Or they did, and they let him go. He was like a kid. And they were like, we're not charging him, just let him go. And then it got worse. So they have not officially charged anybody with the flower bombings at this point. But it seems to have escalated because Lily had something chucked at her.
Poor Lily.
I know. And it was a dildo. Someone chucked a dildo at her. Yeah, were you going to say something?
I love that, like, well, I love being in her. She's just so, like, funny. Like, she says, that's me, Lily Potato Head Hale. Like, she's talking about just her face swelling up from this being chucked at her face. And then, like, in her mind, it's better that, like, if she were to be punched in the face. So that's, like, it wasn't thrown at her. She was punched in the face. Like, because that's just, like, more acceptable to think about it that way.
Right. Because, I mean, they're walking into a building, so it's, like, very well documented what happened. But you know what? No, we're going to rewrite it. Got punched. But, yeah, no, Lo talks about it later that, like, because Lo's fuming over this. He's, like, got lawyers on they catch this guy. That's the big thing. This guy chucked it at Lily, and they were able to catch him. And Lo is fully like, we're pressing charges. There, none of this, let's let him go, which was a big thing because Lo was the one that was like, I don't want to charge this kid. Like, I don't want to ruin the rest of his life. Just let him go. And we're seeing a 180. Lo's like, Nail for you. You hurt my Lily. But like, we're talking about how like Lily has her head, her thoughts. I think it's funny because like later on, Lo she says something out loud, but Lo's like, your thoughts are 100% certified, Lily Hale. You are one of a kind. I think it's so cute. She truly is 100% Lily certified thoughts. But that it's where does he talk about it? Yeah, or he's fuming. That ass is roadkill, or that asshat is roadkill, a goddamn disgrace to humankind. And she's like, you look like Cannonball, with like zero explanation. In her head, she's like, he's radiating so much heat. Like, I expect flames to shoot out of him like Cannonball. But she's just like, none of that gets explained. She's just like, you look like Cannonball. I'm just like, I'm reading the book like, now.
I know. She's just, no, I'm fine. I just got punched.
Yes.
Like,
And where is it? Is it that bad? And she like finally moves her hand so that Lo can see what it looks like. And he's like, no. And she's like, don't give me that look. You're a lying liar.
You're a lying liar. I have that underlined.
Tell me I'm the best Lily you've ever seen. And then in her head, she's like, I don't know what version of Lily I'm on. Because I think it was way back in Ricochet, she was trying to be Lily 2.0. And
Lily
she's like,
2.0.
Am I on like Lily version 8.2?
Yeah.
I love her. But Lo directs Garth to take care of the problem, and they are going to ride the elevator up because the whole point is they're at Haleco. They have a meeting that they're trying to go to, and they're doing the meeting in Haleco. So they have somewhere that they need to be, and we'll find out they're running behind at the moment, but so Lo sends Garth off to deal with it, and they get in an elevator. But I just love that, like, Lo commandeers an elevator, and anytime they like hit a floor and someone wants to get on, he's like, no, occupied, get the fuck out. And then I can't believe that happened. Pinch me. And he pinches her. Ouch, why can't this be a dream? Come on, Lil, you wouldn't want this in your dream. There are no cocks or mind-blowing orgasms. You're so right. But then we see he talks about how, like, the next episode of We Are Calloway, we're going to talk, like, I
Yeah.
want to talk about this. And we really see how, like, impactful this can be for them, that they have this more authoritative voice
Mm-hmm.
to the public, where they can be like, don't do this. This is crossing so many boundaries right now. And hopefully, like, even if it doesn't necessarily educate the dickheads who would throw something, it educates the people who like slowly start to love, not slowly start to love them, but that do already feel sympathy towards them. It helps them to understand, and then they get more people defending them. So, like,
Yeah. Well, exactly that.
online.
Because then if yeah, there's so many more like supporters who are like, oh, that's how this makes them feel, or like they've explained that, and so then those
Mhm.
people, when someone does something, can be like, hey,
That's
don't
kind
do
of
that.
shitty.
Like,
Right.
yeah,
But yeah, so we get that little moment. We also get like Lo wanting to see if Lily needs to talk with Dr. Banning, which I love seeing because we haven't really seen Dr. Banning too much because we've been not in Lily and Lo's head for
hmm
a couple of books. But I do like how consistent, like, they're maybe not necessarily mentioned all the time, the therapists, but they are there, and these guys do make sure to go to a doctor for mental health to help them with that. And I just like those tiny little reminders. I'm like, oh yeah, Dr. Banning, she's still a thing,
yeah,
right? And then we get the little, you're not embarrassed to walk through this office. Like, it was recorded outside. All of your employees are gonna know that I've obviously been punched. His wife was punched by a penis. No one's gonna think, one, that they're having sex on the elevator because he kicked people out. And no one is thinking his wife just got punched by a penis. I am. You're Lily Hill. 99% of your thoughts are certified original.
certified original. And then I
What
love
about
that.
the
What about the one
1%?
percent?
That's when
That's when you and I are thinking the same thing. It's like, yes,
so cute.
so cute.
Secondly, you did not get punched by a penis. Some dipshit threw it at you and it was fake. And she's like, solid point. So they're going to call it the thing. And then thirdly, there's a thirdly. There's absolutely nothing you could do, say, or anything that could happen that make me embarrassed to be your husband. Nothing. She's like, don't make me get all emotional. I'm like, no, Lily, I want the emotion. I want to
Yeah,
see it.
I love that
And
for
they're
like
like,
anyone else. These like again, this it makes like you wouldn't have any idea what she's talking about. Like I was punched by the thing. Like what? But like
yes,
to them, they're like, this makes total sense.
of course.
This
Yes,
train
they
of
know
thought,
exactly what
total
she's talking.
sense.
Mm-hmm. He knows all of the roots of her, the way her brain go. Yes, they're soulmates. They know each other so well.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's, we good? Like, can they exit the elevator at this point? And he's like, hold on. And then he kisses her. Now they're good. And they're ready. They finally like reach the floor. I guess it's like, I don't know what floor it is, but it's like the floor with Lowe's office. And we've been through so much, and I can see our road paved with more bumps, our fight filled with more battles, but one we're finally equipped to face. Lily, you've grown so much. Oh my God. Just when you think about where they were and Addicted to You all the way to now, where she is like, yeah, I have all of the tools that I can fight my own battles. Like, because even throughout the series, you could see that she had a support system, and she would lean on her sisters and her friends
Mm-hmm.
to help them through. Um, we're about to see that, like, she may not necessarily have them as like, it's going to come out wrong, but like as the support, this is something that she and Lo just need to figure out on their own. And Rose and like what they're about to discuss, Rose and Connor will be on their own, and Reich and Daisy. So it's like, but she feels the confidence that like they may be on opposite sides and her usual support might not be there, but she still feels like they can handle it. I love that.
Yeah. The growth is just like having the 10 books.
Oh my gosh. It's that's what's going to take us so long to talk about. This book is like we have 9 books worth of growth from all of these characters, and I can't sit and not acknowledge it. All right. So, chapter 2, we have Rose's point of view now. Also, she's sitting in one of the Haleco conference rooms. And this is when we hear that Lily and Lo are late. It's Rose and Connor, Reich and Daisy sitting in the conference room right now. And she's on one end of the table. Connor's on the other end. And Reich and Daisy are sitting in between them. And she's like, of course you would pick the opposite head of the table. I make sure to send him scathing glares made of fire and brimstone. The usual. Yeah. But so Reich and Daisy are sitting between Rose and Connor. And there is one addition to the group. We have
Very cute addition.
Sullivan Minnie Meadows. She's also here too. Yes. The cutest little mermaid edition. And she's 5 months old at this point. And Rose says, I love my niece, but she was not invited. Which I love in like Rose's head. It's like the children receive invites too.
Yes.
There's just something like, because I think in some instances with like my friends that have kids, it's like, yeah, if I invite my friend, like I'm not necessarily out here being like, you have an invite and you have an invite, but I feel like in Rose's head, she's like, everybody's on like equal footing and this person gets an invite, but this small child, no, you don't get it. That like, that's just the way her brain looks at it all. But she wants to punish Lily and Lo for being 15 minutes late, and it's like, well, how do we decide what the punishment's going to be and like who's going to receive it first? And she's like, well, Lily's my sister, so she's exempt from this. Obviously it's going to be Lo that suffers the consequences. I was like, okay, Rose, you're consistent.
And Daisy's like, blood sacrifice, probably. Like, okay, she knows Rose well.
Very well. But Rose is over here like feeling a little worried, like Daisy's cracking jokes, but she is worried about her sister. The fact that Sully did have to come with them, even though all of the kids have been left with Samantha and Greg. They're at the grandparents' house being watched. But Daisy didn't feel comfortable leaving Sully. So Rose is worried about why Daisy doesn't feel comfortable leaving Sully. And we also finally get like one sister's point of view of what happened in the last book, because we didn't really get to see that, which when Sullivan was born, Daisy had a traumatic, like that was a traumatic birth. She hemorrhaged and almost died, had to get a total hysterectomy, and yeah, she almost died. That main takeaway is they almost lost Daisy, and we only really saw that from Reich's point of view, but I mean, she's very close with her sisters at this point, and that would have absolutely destroyed them. And we see like Rose, how Rose felt a little bit with that situation of that was terrifying. Don't ever want to go through that again. And they go back to who's going to live between Lily and Lo, who's going to survive, like the fact that they are late with this blood sacrifice. It's Rose and Connor are fighting and they want to loop in Reich and Daisy, like, you need to support. And Daisy's like, can we all hypothetically live? I don't want to sacrifice anybody. And it's I love Daisy for being able to voice her opinions even when they differ from mine. Which me too, because I just finished doing the Long Way Down, like the Long Way Down podcast, and that was Daisy's big takeaway was like, I'll have different opinions from Reich, and Rose is usually the one that's most outspoken with her opinions, and there's nothing wrong with Daisy having different opinions as long as she feels comfortable enough to be able to voice them. Like, I think
Mhm.
she's always had her opinions. It's just that no one's allowed her to have that voice.
Yeah.
And now she has that. And then it's the literally, I'd fight for all of our survival, hypothetically and figurative. I don't mind a few casualties. If we must let everyone live, okay. And then, oh, we get like a little more of Rose talking about motherhood now because she's a mom of 3 at this point. And this is a woman who like very adamantly did not want to have babies when we first met her to this point, and how all of her sisters love their babies in different ways. And just because Rose comes off a little colder does not mean that her love for her kids is any less than how Daisy and Lily love their babies. They have no clue the lengths I'd go for my little gremlins. Fight for
Gremlins.
them. I love, yes, anytime the gremlin pops up, I gotta make sure we note that her little monsters.
Yeah.
And then we see her offer that to Daisy that they'd be happy to babysit Sully anytime they need it, if they aren't comfortable leaving Sully with Greg and Samantha. Like, they have other options out there. And I love this whole conversation that they have of like, well, Rose and Connor, like, you guys didn't have that support system. Like, you were essentially on your own. But it was like, I mean, yeah, but you guys were babysitting our kids. Like, we saw in
Mhm.
or was it Feel the Fire? I don't know. One of them we saw, like, yes, it was. Like, Rose had to go to work or something, and Reich was babysitting Maximoff and Jane.
Mhm.
You guys have always been there. And Rose and Connor and Lily and Lo are happy to return the favor for these two. And they just need to. It's okay. It's not a failure of them being parents or anything.
I love that conversation so much because like it's like them being like, well, we had it too. It was just like looked a little different, especially because like they lived together when Jane was first born, and like so they had this kind of like even more built-in like support. And
Mm-hmm.
just because it looks different doesn't mean it's not like Connor and Rose had like support too. Like they weren't like superhuman, even though everyone likes to think that they are sometimes.
Yes, right, right. And it's like, just because they don't necessarily live together. I mean, we also saw at the end of Long Way Down, they all live on the same street. They have all moved out and are
Hmm.
in separate homes, but it's not like they're very far apart. Like,
Yeah.
it looks a little different, but it's still like that same, there's looks different, but it's still the same type of support system. Like,
Hmm.
that didn't go
Yeah.
away.
Yeah.
And I love you dressed her in a cupcake onesie. How could she cause any stress? And Connor's like, what does that have to do with any? What does a cupcake onesie have anything to do with stress? Blah, blah, blah. And then Connor brings up, like, even if you don't want us to watch Sully, Lily and Lo would be happy to. And Reich's like, no, I don't want to stress out them. And we get this bit where, like, Reich needs to recognize that Lo has come a long way and he's not as likely to topple as he used to be, and that can rely on him
Hmm.
to take care of another baby. Like, the whole thing was that Lily and Lo were hesitant to have another kid because the first, like, they weren't sure if they wanted one, so adding more kids to their family, even just watching a kid, he's worried about the stress to that. But I think Lily and Lo are in a lot better place. They've had, I think Maximoff and Jane are 2, 3 at this point. I can't remember. Are they 20? I think they're 2015. Yeah, I have it somewhere. I think they're like 3 years old at this point. So, like, they're toddler age, but like Maximoff, we'll learn. Maximoff is eerily very responsible
Yeah.
for a toddler. And I think Lillian Lowe would be able to handle another kid. That's where I'm going with that thought. He doesn't cause them stress. But yeah, this is the point where, like Reich says, the truth is it has nothing to do with my brother or you two. Maybe Days and I are just doing great without any of your help. You all did fine without us. And this is the point where they're like, well, we did actually have you. So don't rewrite history, Reich.
Yeah.
You were all there, and we also did better with you, just like Lily and Lo do better with all of us, and you and Daisy do too. All our children benefit from the love and support of family. Translation, you're my family, right?
Rose's little like translations of what Connor's saying. Like,
Yes. He's far too intellectual for some people. Like, Rose is going to do the interpretation for all of us.
yeah.
But I love that too. They're all family. And I love that. Far Connor and Reich have come. But like, it's very sweet too to see that Connor verbally acknowledging that he has this family that like he does love and care for. He's not going to say those exact words maybe, but he does love and care for more than just Rose and Jane, Charlie, and Beckett. Like his family is more than just those people. It is Lily and Lo and Reich and Daisy and their families too. And this is a man who never accepted love for so long. For so long. I love it. I'm just over here like, do you remember when they were like this bad? Now they're so great. That's all these first chapters are going to be. And then we see this like discussion a little bit about the worry of leaving the kids with Samantha. She talks about how she's different as a grandmother, and that she's less overbearing, and it helps that she has staff to like watch the kids so she's not stressed out over that. And like to an extent, yeah, she's not going to be the ones raising them and like truly imposing the rules. she's I have my thoughts on Samantha. I don't want to sing her praises.
Like, a lot of people are different when they're a grandparent versus like a parent because it's like that grandma effect, whatever. But like, she hasn't just changed. Like, she's still
No.
Samantha Calloway.
Yes. 100%.
Yeah.
And Samantha Calloway is a stubborn woman who is old and set in her old ways.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we'll see it. We'll see it pop up more.
Mm-hmm.
But at the moment, at least the core six aren't stressed about her. Like, she's not causing waves for them right now. So we have that. But we have this mention that Rose and Connor will at one point possibly need to get nannies, which I always forget. But I think they do call nannies later on, that they have.
Yeah.
They're very busy, but they want to make sure that they're not like a surrogate mother. It's literally just their babysitter. That's all.
Mm-hmm.
And then Daisy finally shares why she's one of like her big reason for being so worried about leaving Sully on her own. And it's mostly just like, well, she went through it was a very traumatic experience, and it almost came to like, she's wanted to be a mom for so long. Like, that was something that she fought for. She and Reich spent many years just trying to get pregnant, and she was really excited to have Sully. And we came to this point where she almost never got to see Sully grow up, and I don't want to miss any of these tiny moments with my baby. But I think that Rose has like a really good point that how does she put it? I can't say that. So Daisy's like, I just don't want to miss a moment. We've been given this gift and I can. And she like trails off. I can't say that you won't, because you will. Maybe you'll miss that one time she snorts up food, or the one time she falls on her ass. But you know the ridiculous thing about children, they do these painfully cute and stupid things all the time. So you will miss that one moment, but you'll have a million more to make up for it. I don't know. I love that. And it's like coming from Rose too, who like was never really the child advocate. And she's like, it's okay. I don't know. I just really like that moment.
Especially, I think, because Rose is like, I don't know, I feel like she's one to often be like, the fact that she's like, yeah, they're like these super cute things that they do, because I don't know, I feel like it's not often that she says that about like little baby children.
Right. I think that's it, where it's like some of the things that they do, like they're falling on their butts or they're snorting up food. It's like not necessarily something that I would think Rose finds sentimental and wants to remember that. But the fact that she recognizes that Daisy wants to and like has the right words to be like, don't worry, it's okay. You'll get all of these other sentimental moments from your kid. Like I recognize that like these are the things that you don't want to miss out on, but it's okay. They do this stuff all the time. And yeah, I just like I like that bit. But then we see Reich and Connor kind of whispering to each other, and it's like, excuse me, why are you talking about me and my sister? What's going on? What are you gossiping about? And it's sex, typical. And then Daisy's like, will you watch her this Saturday just for a couple of hours? I'd love to. I'll save you from all the evil cries. Did you just call my baby evil? Her cries, that only makes her part evil. I love Rose. And then finally, Lily and Lo show up for this meeting. And what happened was Connor and Rose were at the heads of the table, but then when they had this more like meaningful discussion with Reich and Daisy, they got up from their ends of the table and walked to where Reich and Daisy were in the center. So that means the ends of the table are now free. So when Lily and Lo come in, Lo just like takes that head of the table. He's like, I'm in charge now. No, I don't approve of this. But Lily's also covering.
Looks like Lily and I dethroned you and your husband.
Yes, thanks for keeping this warm for me, love. And he takes a sip of Connor's coffee. But they notice that Lily is covering her face, and that's a red flag for them. This isn't about seating assignments, I retort, but let's be clear. Connor and I are always at the head of the table. Yes, Queen Rose. So then that's when Lily pulls her hand away from her face, and they see that she is injured. She's got her face is swollen from her punch, and we see the hot-tempered triad. They are, well, 2/3 of the hot-tempered triad are livid. They don't even need the facts. Like, they just need to see Lily and they're ready to be out the door.
Yes.
But we see Lo, very proud of him as part of the hot-tempered triad, like, wow. He kept his cool, and he's like telling everyone to sit down. They don't even know what happened. Like, trust Lo that he's got everything under control. And like they ask for all the details that like Lily had something. She was punched by a thing. Lo did manage to call the lawyers. Like he went through all the proper channels to make sure everything was taken care of, that the guy was apprehended, that security has him. And because like Connor's ready to like clean up the mess. And Lo's over here like, I can take care of it. I'm an adult too. It's okay. Like it was a situation between me and Lily, and I could handle it. I don't need you for everything, Connor.
I love that he like already, took care of it with the lawyers, got everything handled, and then they're like asking all these questions like, "Oh, we have to do this." And he's like, "It's already taken care of. I got it.
Yeah,
I got it. Don't worry.
I'm a big boy."
Yeah. Again, just shows like, oh, how far he's come.
Yes, and then like I love it too that I mean, obviously Reich and Rose are. It takes more for them to feel satisfied. They want like physical retribution. They want to go do something to this guy, but like Connor steps in front and is like, "No, don't. Did you not hear what Lo just said? He said that he handled it." And I love that Connor's like, "Oh, well, okay, so Lo's like checked off everything on that checklist of things he needs to take care of, and I believe that he has it handled. I don't need it." Like, yeah, because Connor definitely would have been that person that would have like still done it anyway. Like I trust myself and myself alone to handle everything. And he's like, "No, Lo's got it. I believe in him." I love that. We're both angry and upset. Of course we wouldn't murder anyone, but we'd cause a shitstorm until justice is served. Yeah, we know, Rose.
Yep.
You're charging him with assault, and then we burn his balls. Unfortunately, the best we can hope for is a few weeks in jail.
Lily, if it's any consolation, he didn't actually punch me. Like, now she comes in with the, like...
No, Lily, it's not any consolation. I feel like what you're about to... You don't think getting punched in the face isn't... But, like, I don't know. I don't think it's any better. Because we forgot to talk about, like, poor Lily's over here, like, another dick touched my face other than Lo. Is that, like, did I? And he's like, no, you didn't cheat on me with this plastic thing. No. But we do see, again, the, like, reiteration that one, charging the guy is going to set a precedent and that they really want to talk about it on the docu-series because they have noticed that the headlines have started to sound more in their favor after after the pilot was aired. So we see that, like, Daisy Meadows tells her inspiring and heartbreaking story where she talks about the Paris riot and what it was like to be a model and how she was objectified. And then Reich Meadows and his lonely past and how he had to keep his family ties a secret, that he wasn't actually, like, Jonathan's son or Sarah's son. Lily and Lauren open up relationships and sex addiction, how they enabled each other, and then Rose and Connor, the real truth behind the Princesses of Philly, where they finally are able to talk about how, like, they did not consent to the sex tapes, that Scott was, like, nobody realized that he was the executive producer of the reality show at the time. And they just thought he was, like, truly Rose's ex-boyfriend. And so we're seeing all of these truths uncovered for the Core Six and the media finally reporting on it correctly.
Yes. Can really clear the air.
Yes. It's just so frustrating. Like, when you read the series, I just felt so frustrated and helpless for them that, like, all of these things that they would do would get so, like, horribly twisted. And there's so much satisfaction in seeing it finally righted. And then she says people hesitate to throw vitriol and more people come to our defense. But they are only one episode in and they have one kink to smooth out before they can continue, which is the reason that they are having this meeting, which is how are the kids going to be involved in the docuseries. So that brings us to chapter 3. Where they're really gonna have this talk. Rose has all of these, like, magazines. She's come with, like, props and, like, evidence. I feel like she is very much like that lawyer that, like, comes in with, like, here's all the evidence for my side of this argument. That, like, one of them is saying that Lily's, like, she's got a baby bump. They're just, like, crossing boundaries of just, like, is she having too much sex? And, like, it's the word I'm looking for. It's not objectifying, but, like, they're just, like, focusing on a woman's body in a way that they definitely should not be speculating on that kind of thing. But now that the docuseries is out, it's like, I'm stronger now. Lily's untold truth of addiction, family in the spotlight. So, like, we're continuing to see how the headlines are skewing more in their favor. So the big thing is that obviously the Core Six are very much in the media and their kids are likely to be in the media too, but they didn't experience what it was like to be in the media when they were children. Like, they were in their 20s when their fame exploded. So they were able to just be normal kids. Their children won't. So it's this discussion of how can we keep our kids' lives, like, what's the normal that we want our kids growing up with. And we see so Lo brings up, like, we were in our 20s when this happened to us, but Daisy's over here like, well, I was actually 16. Like, I was still a kid when our fame blew up. And so Daisy's defense was, I wasn't perfect before the media. Like, I was modeling when I was really young and I was objectified all the time. I didn't have a voice. And if I didn't have Reich at the time, if our fame hadn't exploded and all of these different factors, Reich wouldn't have been at at Paris Fashion Week, but I still would have been there and I would have been in the riot. I would have been hurt and Reich wouldn't have been there to protect me. Rose, thank God that didn't happen. Let's not give God anyone's credit. Connor adds, not able to say Reich's credit.
Yeah.
So Lo's, like, does assure Daisy, like, I have not forgotten you. It's been a long time since, like, how does he put it? You may think I forget you, Daisy, but I don't. I haven't in a long time. I remember how the media harassed you. And like, yes, the media did harass her, also her friends. Maybe they would have picked some other reason to come at me. I don't think we should look at my life as a standard for what our children might go through. Mom was oblivious towards my mental health, and it's not like we're going to force our kids to do something they wouldn't. Which one, yes, I think it's very interesting, and we'll see how it kind of we'll see it affects the tone of the Leica series, in that these kids aren't growing up with the trauma, like the parental trauma that Jonathan, Samantha, and Greg have inflicted on their kids.
Yes.
They're going to be a lot better parents. Like, the conflicts that the characters, that the kids will eventually go through in their books, has like, doesn't really have to do with them being bad parents, because they truly want to be supportive of their kids and like not miss the things that their parents missed. Like, they're talking about it now, but I just love seeing them talk about it and know, like, you're not going to be your parents. You're not going to miss these things. You're going to be so much better than all of them, I promise. But while Daisy's bringing this up, Rose has like her notepad and she's like writing things down. Are you planning an exam after this? I won't apologize for being organized when our children's lives are at stake. For fuck's sake, you and your husband are acting like we're betting against the fucking apocalypse. Maybe we are. And she writes on her thing, Reich is unconcerned. He's like, what kind of fucking note is that?
So Rose.
Yes, it is. And then Lo says, we may have been raised out of the spotlight, but our kids will never get the chance at that sort of life, no matter if we continue the docuseries or not. They're going to grow up in the public eye. And they think about how, like, yeah, even when Reich and Daisy just, like, wanted to go out for a little bit, the paparazzi don't have that high-quality photo of Sully at all. Like, the Core Six have different levels of how they've kept the kid in the media, and Reich and Daisy are very, very serious about making sure that nobody gets pictures of Sully. And how we see how Daisy and Reich are, like, just yesterday Daisy and I packed her stroller in my car so we could go for a walk in a park, not even 30 seconds outside the neighborhood, and we were tailed by paparazzi. Going unnoticed is a battle that has no end, but they still have to decide whether or not to bring the kids on screen. So it's like there's one thing of their kids being photographed in public when they're in this space, versus like they have the editing call when they're on the docuseries. And I guess you could argue that, like, at least in my experience, I don't necessarily look at tabloids as much as I do consume like TV content,
Media.
and that kind of media. Yeah. So it's almost like they'd be putting their kids more in a spotlight by allowing them to be on the docuseries, because you could probably get more people watching that versus looking at gossip rags and that kind of thing.
And that's something like this is something they can control. Like they can choose whether to have them on the show or not. But
Right.
I mean, they're trying, they can try as hard as they can whether to have them try to avoid being photographed, but like they can only do so much there. So like they still might get paparazzi
Right.
pictures and whatnot, but like if they still get photographed, like, they can only control that so much. That's something like kind of out of their control. And this is something like they can make that choice. They can
Yes.
control, are we gonna like expose them to that or not?
Mm-hmm. And it's a big thing for them because, like I said, they all have like these varying opinions on how they want their kids, like, in the public. And they'll talk about how, like, they talk about how they have varying levels of fame. So the big thing is that, so Lo talks about how Mafi will never know the difference between fame and obscurity. This is his normal. And if we freak out by every goddamn camera, every tabloid or article, then his normal will be full of anxiety and panic. Lily and I, we don't want that for our kid. We want him to be comfortable in public and around paparazzi. We want him to embrace this life because it's the only one he's going to live.
After that too, when Reich says, I've never heard my brother speak this passionately about anything other than Lily. And it's like you can just see how, like, yes, he loves Mafi so much, and he's so passionate about like protecting him and wanting what's best for him, and like they're all making decisions that are like what they think is best for their kids. And like
Right.
Reich recognizes that in Lowe, and he's like so passionate about like how he's speaking about this.
You can tell
I
that
love
like
that.
they've really thought about this. Like this isn't something that's just an on a like they have really sat down and discussed this.
Hmm.
Like I don't know, Lily and Lo were so worried about how they were going to raise Maximoff if they were going to be good parents, and just like it is this level of no, we are taking this very seriously. Like we feel very responsible for him. If this isn't just like we're feeling this out as we go along. No, we have to consider all avenues. Is what is how do we want to raise him? What is the right way for us to raise him? Yeah, you're right. He's very passionate about it, and the fact that Reich recognizes it too, it's very sweet. And so then Lily brings up what Lo said, and we want Mafi to start getting used to being on television because whether he's in the docuseries or not, they'll most likely show him on entertainment news. So then, and poor Reich and Daisy are like sitting in the middle of this. So Lily and Lo have their very passionate side of their like of the argument, and then we have Rose and Connor on the other side that they don't feel comfortable making that choice for their kids, that their kids are too young to consent to being photographed, to being on the like how they are, even though the Corsicks will have the editing power in the docuseries, like that doesn't necessarily mean that other things can't be like skewed or twisted or perceived a different way outside of the docuseries. I don't know where my train of thought was going with that one. I had it and then it exited my brain. But like there is a level of they do have some control, but not necessarily all of the control. Obviously, if they're being captured on entertainment news and in the public, like I guess kind of thinking of a certain example, like you can control how your kid is edited in the docuseries to make sure that there's no embarrassing moments, that you've put out everything that you feel is safe for the public to know about your kid. But then you could like maybe take your kid out and she picks a wedgie
Yeah.
and they're going to capture that, and you can't control like they're still going to be kids and do kid things, and that can be photographed and put out there. Rose and Connor don't necessarily feel comfortable making those decisions for their kids. Like they don't understand what's going on and they want to make sure their kids do, and that's not going to happen for a long time. So until they truly understand that, they want to wait and make sure their kids do have that idea, like the true understanding of what it means to be so public and be a public figure. And then again, Reich and Daisy are in the middle of this, and at first it was like, yeah, I really understand what Lily and Lo are talking about. And then, damn it, I also really understand where Rose and Connor are coming from. Who do we go with?
We do.
Rose and Connor are absolute geniuses about this, but Lily and Lo also love their kid, and like he's very passionate about this, and like maybe I believe him or do I believe them? And so this is where we see like what I was talking about with Lily not necessarily having her support system, that this is a Lily and Lo versus Rose and Connor versus Reich and Daisy thing. Like their support systems, they have them, but they're a little they're a little bit on opposite sides of this, which is why I was very impressed with Lily feeling so confident about going into this meeting. But then we get this bit where so Lo gave his opinion, Connor gave their argument, and Lo is like, "Are you saying I'm a shitty father for putting my kid up for public consumption and for making I'm the shitty father for making choices for my kid. Is that it, Connor? I didn't say that. You're misinterpreting me. Now I'm an idiot. Oh my God." So then we see there's this tension between Connor and Lo, that Reich is the one observing. This is his perspective. And I think I also think this bit is really interesting. I wouldn't lie. I used to wish for the day where Lo treated Connor equally like me, but justice doesn't fill me. Truth is, I tense and an uncomfortable weight bears heavy on my chest. I have never had any jealousy I've ever had towards their friendship just fucking vanishes right now. I realize how different Connor and Lo's relationship is from my relationship with Lo. I can fight with him. I can push him, pull him, pick him back up because I'm his brother. Connor can mostly lift him, support him, catch him. He can't kick his ass into gear. I see that now. I see it more than I ever fucking have. My God, another moment where I'm just like, this growth that I'm seeing in these characters that like,
Yes.
this was something that Reich has struggled with for so long, and he finally
So
sees
long.
that like just because Connor was softer on Lo did not make Reich's relationship with Lo any less meaningful, or that there was like preferential treatment. It's just different, and that there are things that Reich can do with like that there are like the boundaries that Reich has with Lo is very different from the boundaries that Connor has with Lo. And there are things that Reich gets to do that Connor can't do.
Yeah, I think he always like you could see in the past books that he kind of resented almost Connor for like not being
Mm-hmm.
harder on Lo or making him the bad guy. And it's like, well, why do
Yes.
I have to come in and be the bad guy? Well, like when you're right there already, like why do you have to just be his friend? And it's like he's finally seeing now, like, oh, that's not what he needs from him. Like he needs
Right.
something else from Connor, but I can, I can be like something else to him that he needs, and he needs both of us in different ways, and like that's
Yes.
okay. And like he's finally like recognizing that and like okay with it, and it's just like, yeah, I don't know.
I love the growth. Yeah. No. It's
Yeah.
perfect. This situation, not so perfect. Passive again. Connor shrouds all emotion, but he's not speaking either. He just stares at Lo, and Lo just glares at him. It kills me. All of this fucking kills me. Just, I mean, one, I love that Reich can see the growth between, like, or like, there's growth in Reich and how he sees his relationship with Lo, but also, like, he loves Connor too, because it's like, I don't want, like, I wished for a day where maybe Connor wasn't here, that, like, I could have all of Lo, because, like, they fought on things about whether Reich would be the best man. Like, there was definitely jealousy and, like, the closeness of Lo and Connor, and Reich's over here like, but no, I love Connor too, and, like, you can't kick Connor out of this group. He's part of it. Like, this is killing me to see you two fighting. I would have cheered for this at one point, like, get Connor out of here. And now I'm like, no, Connor needs to stay. So yeah, and I used to be pissed by the idea of being bad cop to Connor's good cop routine, but this isn't something I want to change anymore. I cut in to protect their friendship so it won't turn into something else. Fucking A, I'm doing something I'm not made to do. Resolve lingering tension. No, Reich, you're probably not that. Can't we talk about this without shitting on each other? And then Rose is like, depends on Lauren. He's usually the one taking the shits. Reich almost laughs. Daisy does. Lo raises his hand to clap, but then he pauses. No, you know what? That doesn't deserve a clap. Tell your husband he's a dick. He's aware. I am many things. But I'm not saying your decision makes you a bad father. I've never thought that, not behind your back. And if I planned to say it to your face, I'd be more direct, which, so true.
Yeah, he has no problem saying what he's thinking.
No, not at all. If he thought you were a shitty father, he would 100% say you were a shitty father. And this is where we get you and I couldn't be more different. And that's partly why I love you. But the way I raise my children will be vastly different to the way you raise yours. It doesn't make you less than me, and it doesn't make your children inferior to mine. One of my favorite bits. Lily raises her hand like they're in a classroom. Goes, but you're a genius and possibly a telepath, maybe even psychic, but that's still to be confirmed. I mean, you're definitely not magical. Those things don't exist. I just love her so much.
It's like it pains her to say the last sentence. She's like, magic, that doesn't exist. Oh, I'm just saying this for Connor, but
Feel free to cut in and, like, prove me wrong. I'd happily take that. And then he's a genius on paper, but that doesn't mean his ideas are the right ones. But Connor always makes the right choices. Not always. Rosa's expression travels from shock to full-on fucking grin. We're all probably documenting this moment as a historic one. The day Connor Cobalt admits he's not always right. It's more like he chose a path that wasn't, like, the most beneficial to him. It wasn't necessarily the wrong choice, but it wasn't the fully right choice. Okay, Connor.
I'm admitting that on rare occasions I've picked a choice with too much risk and not enough reward. I wouldn't consider it the wrong one, just not the run with the highest benefit. Like the roundabout way of having to like get
He's one of a kind. So the way that they decide this, well, so they're confused. Like they've aired out their thoughts, their opinions on how they want to raise their kids. And Lily's over here like, I'm so confused. Because Rose and Connor bring up excellent points, but like that doesn't necessarily change how Lily and Lo feel about what they want to do with Maximoff. And so Rose is the one who's like, I need you to know something. The six of us, we're all perceived differently in the media. We're all different people. I never thought you two would follow me. Admirable. Yes. Loyal, of course. I love you both. I'd die for you. But don't choose my path because you think I'm smarter. No one knows your lives better than you do. You don't need Connor and me to tell you which direction to move, but I'll always help you stand. I love her. And that's when, like, they kind of figure it out. Lily and Lo are the ones that are most famous. They're the ones that caused all of the fame. They are considered like the most infamous, the scandalous ones, more unconventional than Reich and Daisy and Rose and Connor in comparison. Relative like to them, they're a little more unconventional, just being and the fact that they're addicts. So it's going to be more difficult for them to keep Maximoff out of the paparazzi, like out of the public eye. So they are making the right choice for him, that he needs to get used to being in the public spotlight. And if it's any consolation, Jane and Maximoff are besties, and she's going to want to follow along with whatever he does. So they're going to respect Jane's choices. Like, this is her decision to make, even though she's really little. I think they talk about, like, what is it that at 6 they'll make the
Yeah.
they can make that decision? Right. We're not letting her make the choice until she's at least 6. Even then, if she says yes, she won't be allowed to have any speaking roles on the show. And we'll keep letting her choose as she grows older and how much involvement she wants. But, like, still the whole idea of if Mafi does it, Janie's going to follow after him. Yeah. I love them. And then it's Daisy and Reich's turn to choose, and Daisy, you know, is still suffering from like the PTSD of being a model, growing up in that light that she was objectified when she was still very young. And what if the paparazzi objectify Sully just because she is Daisy's daughter and for purely no other reason? I was the model. I gave them permission to photograph me, and maybe they'll think the same about her just because she's ours. We can fucking protect her from that. You know how we start. We don't let her get photographed. We don't let her be in the docuseries. And so that is Reich and Daisy's decision, that Sully will be more private in the public. And we don't really see how it's mostly the discussion of Jane and Sully because they're oldest, but we don't see it, like, I guess because Charlie and Beckett are still infants, so they'll wait until they're older to make what decision they'll make. But I think it's always interesting that in my head I'm like, okay, well, Rose and Connor went with being a little more public with Jane because she's just going to be where Mafi is, and Mafi's going to be in the spotlight more. We don't really consider like what Charlie and Beckett's decisions are, and we don't really know them until later. But I think it's interesting to think about with knowing what their it's not discussed, but we know what their decisions are, and I think it's interesting to think about. And
I think it's so interesting, or like it was such a good discussion to show like on page because they have such different like path, like such different experiences, I guess, like in the media, like it makes sense that their decisions aren't going to be the same, you know, like Daisy, how she was affected by like modeling in the media and like being like objectified, and like it makes sense that she would choose something different than like Lily and Lo, who like they are just so like they're the most famous and so heavily in the media, and it's like so much harder, it would be so much harder for them to like keep their kids out of it, so it makes sense for them to be like, we want them to be comfortable, since it's going to be hard to avoid. And then like Rose and Connor are kind of like they choose something like a little more in the middle. It makes sense for that they're just not all like the same.
yes,
But I don't know, I guess maybe you could like expect like, oh well, like they're all family, they're all famous, like maybe you would just have all the kids would be the same, but like they have such different experiences, and that's not the case. And it's cool to see that like discussion happen.
Yes. I think it's like a really interesting character study
Hmm.
where they come from all of these different experiences. Here's the situation. How do they handle it? And like they're all different characters, so they're all going to handle it differently. And I think it's like really interesting to see how they like come like where they're coming from, what their thought processes are, and what they want to do, and the decisions that they wind up coming to with what they'll do with the kids. I think it's all just very interesting. And then just knowing, I think it's also interesting to hear like these beginning stages of the setup for Maximoff and Jane and Sully. They are making these choices for their kids, and it's very interesting to see how that winds up shaping them as
Yes,
kids,
yeah.
as when they become adults. There's a lot of hindsight here, but I think it's very
This,
interesting
yeah,
to see all of it.
yeah. Well, like this discussion shaped so much of like 13 future books, right? Like the whole like us
So
just
much.
like series is so shaped like by what is decided in that. Like you can see a
In
lot of
these
that
three
trickle through
chapters. Yes.
so heavily. So
So
it's just
crazy.
like crazy.
But then we get this little bit of, so Reich and Daisy have decided they don't want Sully in the media. They're afraid of her being objectified. And Lo's over here like, and that's why I'm glad I don't have a girl. You were the one that wanted a girl. Not anymore, love. People can change their minds. I just changed mine now. And I'm just over here like, ha ha ha, just you wait. And I love how the chapter ends. So it's set then. That's when I noticed the horde of lawyers outside the office with, they're going to sign whatever decision they've made. The lawyers were there to like put it to paper. Our children will be raised differently, and that's all right. I sense our strength together, our support for each other's choices. Today I've fallen deeper in love with I've fallen in deeper love with these people. No matter which direction we fucking move, we'll all still be there. Amen, Reich.
Yes.
Okay. So, chapter 4, it is a month later, July 2018, and we are at the Cobalt Estate. This is Connor's point of view, and he is waiting outside Jane's bedroom, thinking about how he's never played pretend like this before. Jane is having a tea party, and she has invited her family to join. And Connor's over here like, yeah, I never did stuff like this when I was a kid, but like, I gotta let her be her own person. She's gonna do this, and I'm gonna participate. So Charlie and Beckett are sitting at the table. They're 11 months old at this point, and Rose is like helping Jane take care of like the table setting and everything. Like the kid, what is it? Is it Charlie's babbling? Beckett asks a question that neither of us would be able to piece together, but Rose regards him with understanding. Of course, I'll take up your request with the hostess. She treats them like little adults. I just love it.
Yes.
They
I
don't
love
do
that
the
they're like
baby
they don't
talk.
like baby talk. They're like, yeah.
No. No goo goo. None of that. They're very straightforward with their kids. So cute.
Yes.
And Connor is waiting outside Jane's bedroom. Like he's got the door cracked a little bit. So he's like spying on them a little bit before he's allowed to come in. And Rose catches him. And she, like, you were given one direction and you failed. I said you failed, Richard. Be angry. She's so funny. I'm amused, and a smile usually accompanies amusement, not anger. So she slams the door in Connor's face. Connor's not allowed to come in until he is invited in. And before she slams the door in his face, I can't believe I allowed my DNA to mix with yours and create multiple little monsters. What was I thinking?
I love it. She says, "Have you been reading Cabal Away fan fiction?"
And like the fact that Lily, I'm just imagining Lily over on AO3 and she's like, Cabal away. Yes, I will send this to, and she sends it to Connor. Like, Connor would be interested in this. Yes, for sure. But then it's you were thinking I'm undeniably, indisputably in love with the most brilliant and most handsome man on earth. And like the fact that he's complimenting himself while he's giving this, she's like, I hate you. And then Jane hears Connor, so Rose slams the door in his face and she's like, it's totally okay. You can you can exile daddy.
Exile.
I can't exile him. What about temporary banishment? But she thinks that Jane thinks that Connor's never been to a tea party before, so he has to be invited to this and he has to experience this tea party. Then you better hurry and introduce him. Introducing Daddy. Come in, Daddy. And he's like speaking fluent, like he's speaking French with her, like not, and then the way, like, again, he's not doing like baby talk. And
Yeah.
so he's speaking very straightforward to her in French and she understands all of it. She is a genius little baby.
Yeah, I mean, they're speaking French. Rose is talking about banishment.
She's exposed to quite a bit at a
Yeah.
young age. And Rose is like
They're talking about
yes, the rusty guillotine. Guillotines were still used long after the French Revolution. And then Jane's like, what's a googanini?
And then I love, like, you know, some parents just like, oh, just, you know, like, they, like, repeat back the, like, you know, like, oh, yeah, like, they would say, like, the you know, funny way that kids say the words. They just let them say it till they're, like, older. Because like, it's so cute. Not them. No, they're like, okay, that's not a word. It's a guillotine. That's, like...
Get it right, kid. Say it right or don't say it at all.
Yeah.
And then it's the whole thing of, what is a guillotine? It's like, don't worry about it. I'll tell you when you're older. And they're like, nah, 3-year-old, it's a device used for execution. Okay. They talk about how, like,
He's just like, she doesn't know what that means.
Yeah, no, and we're just gonna, like, I know how to parent my kid, and she doesn't know what execution means. Like, I've given her the true explanation. I'm not gonna hide it from her. But also, she doesn't necessarily know what execution means, and I'm not gonna sit around and wait for her to ask me. Let's keep moving.
Yeah.
So then Connor tries to sit down at the table, and Jane yells at him because he picked the wrong seat, and Rose is just like, I love this. Connor did it wrong. But that seat is reserved for Sadie.
Sadie.
We miss her. We saw her... Yeah.
She was a cat lover from the beginning.
She truly was. I think they say Jane's face lights and she touches her black cat ear headband.
Cat
She's already wearing them already. Our cat queen. She's a little cat princess right now. But we saw in Long Way Down when Charlie and Becca were first born. They had Sadie, but they were like very overwhelmed. Rose and Connor were very overwhelmed with having 3 toddlers, 2 infants and a toddler running around. And Sadie isn't necessarily the nicest cat. Jane doesn't, we'll call her cat princess right now. She's not cat queen because she's a child that didn't necessarily know how to treat the cat properly. She like yanked on Sadie's tail. I think that was the problem. She was like chasing Sadie around, grabbed her tail, and Sadie was not having that and tried to swipe at her. And Reich was able to like make sure that Jane didn't get hurt. But that was like too close a call for Rose and Connor. So they gave Sadie back to Frederick. She had been with Frederick before Jane was born. They brought her back. And now Sadie has to leave again. But Jane is very much under the impression that Sadie's coming back.
It's coming back.
Sadie is not gone forever. She's just like...
She will be back.
Yeah, she's on vacation right now, but she's 100%... Like, no doubt. She will be back in the Cobalt residence very soon. And that is her seat, so don't sit in her seat, Daddy. And Connor and Rose are very much... like, Sadie's not coming back, but we're not going to, like, truly correct her. And they have this discussion about, like, friendships that, like, Sadie was Jane's first friend. What was it like for Rose with her first friend, who was her first friend, and she was like a preschool friend that moved, and Rose was devastated to see her go, and Connor's like, no, how does he put it? I can't, it's later. But
it's like, if you didn't care, then you wouldn't have been like so sad when
yes, it's
kind
not
of like that, like,
yeah, where did he put it? I'll find it eventually, but it's
yeah, he's like, you still could have had Amy as a friend, but there wasn't a need to be that invested in someone who you knew might leave.
Yes, and I was a child. I thought she'd stay around forever. Then that was your first mistake. Jesus, Connor.
Like, she was in preschool or whatever.
Preschool in first grade.
Yeah, preschool. Like,
oh my God, Connor. But Rose kind of recognizes it for what it is, that, like, Connor's kind of bubble wrapping her emotions, that Jane Connor is a byproduct of the way that Katerina Cobalt raised him, that she was a very cold woman, and did not encourage affection or love or like any kind of attachment to others. It was very much like you fend for yourself kind of thing. And Jane is not growing up in that type of environment. So she is a little more emotional and attached, obviously. And Rose is over here like, you can't bubble wrap her emotions, Connor. Like, she's going to feel love. Yeah, she will feel those things because she will love more than just herself, and she'll be better than you were. And Connor says selfishly, yeah, were you going to read that?
I love that he says Rose values love above all else.
Yes, she does. And I never did until I fell in love with her. I know why I want to save Jane from this. Selfishly, I don't want to see our daughter dig through these emotions, not ones that I could have helped her avoid. You want me to watch a train wreck? Multiple train wrecks. When she needs you to pull her out of the wreckage, I will be there. I love it.
I think that this is also like a really good conversation that shapes so much of like who they are as parents, of like,
Yes.
they know they could save them or like stop them from going through a lot of like pain and heartache and making mistakes, but like as parents they don't do that. They let them like, you know, make mistakes and go through, you know, heartache and like just whatever, because it's like we need to let them live their own life and make their own mistakes and do, you know, whatever they need to do, and then like we're there for them when
Yes.
they need us, and like we're not gonna bubble wrap them, we're not gonna
Right.
like we're gonna watch the train wrecks and then be there and love them, and
Yes.
like that. Yeah, I think you see that throughout like even the Like Us series, but like this is like a really good like conversation about like who they want to then be as parents.
And again, it's like that growth with Connor of he grew up this way and he feels like it wasn't necessarily a bad thing. He's very intelligent. He's received everything that he wanted in life. But a lot of that was like because he was raised without love. So he was able to be a little more like he was able to be very selfish and like get himself as far as possible. And his kids aren't necessarily going to grow up that way. They are going to have love in their lives. And he's willing to let them have love in their lives, that they are going to make mistakes. And they're like his, I don't know, like maybe his standard of success is not going to look the same as his kids' standards of success. That like he's very smart and wealthy, but like he didn't have love for so long in his life, but his kids may feel more fulfilled because they did have love, like they will have love in their life, and he accepts that. And that's some big growth from Connor to accept that.
Yeah. And know that because like he knows that like there's some stuff like, well, I could fix this because like I'm smart enough to just like, you know, tell them like, yeah, don't be sad over this friend, or don't do that.
Right.
Like, don't get so attached to this person because then you won't be sad when they leave. Like Rose's preschool friend. Like, you know, there's things that he like feels like he could maybe like fix or like prevent with his kids, because like he's like, that's the smartest decision. But it's like, okay, but they're gonna have so much more love that maybe it's not the smartest thing, but like it'll be so much more like emotionally fulfilling. Which
Yes.
I think he's also like seeing the like value in, and he's seeing the value for his kids in that.
Yes. Yeah. It's just a lot of growth out of Connor.
Yes.
And then I don't know, I always find this bit so silly too. So then Charlie accidentally smacks his saucer of Cheerios and then he bursts into tears. And I'm sorry, but I'm just picturing the Charlie Cobalt that I know does not get upset over spilled Cheerios. But okay, fine. He's 11 months old. Okay.
Yeah.
He gets sad, but it's very cute. Like Rose and Connor turn to help him because that's what, like, that's their instinct as parents is to help their kids make sure that they aren't sad or in pain. And then they step back because Jane and Becca get down and they help Charlie clean up the mess. Jane's like, Charlie, don't cry. And they like help him pick up the Cheerios, and like they already have this, like we're already seeing that they will experience things, but they are surrounded by love, and that will help support them. Like that will get them very far. So sweet. And then he goes, what are you thinking? That I'd love to have another monster with you. I'm insane for wanting more stress, more happiness, more children screaming, More children laughing.
I love that that's when she's like, I want to have another little monster. Like after this, like,
Yes.
I feel they just kind of like live in the like chaos and like, I don't know. They live and thrive in it.
Yes, they do. That's exactly it. And you love it all equally because you're entirely and unequivocally in love with them. Love isn't a weakness. Connor's the one saying this, and it's like, okay, Connor, what a 180 you've done. He's over
Yes.
here educating Rose. Didn't you know, Rose? It's not a weakness. Like, okay, Connor, I taught you that. But they do want a girl sooner than later, and that's their whole thing that they had decided was their family will stop growing when Rose has a cobalt girl, making that specification in there. So they discuss like she feels ready to have a baby. Like it's been almost a year since she had Charlie and Beckett. So like they don't want to squander any opportunities for them to maybe have their cobalt girl. So while they're having this conversation, they look over and Jane's like squirming. Like, do you have to go to the bathroom? Go to the bathroom. Your hostesses are allowed to go to the bathroom. Go. I love seeing them as parents, that she's such a mom. Are you holding your
I
bladder?
love when they're talking about wanting more kids and Connor like asks if she is ready, but he says that like he hasn't broached the topic. He always waits for her to say if she wants more kids. And he says, I never do. I haven't broached the topic of having more children. I never do after Rose gives birth. It's her body, her physical timeline, and I'll always be respectful of her wants and needs.
Amen, Connor.
Yes.
That is the correct answer. You are a genius.
Yes.
And then we get the little bit where she's like, are you holding your bladder? Go to the bathroom. Hostesses are allowed to excuse themselves. And if anybody gives you heat about it, mommy will disembowel them. What's disem? And she's like, just go to the bathroom.
Just go.
Don't worry about it. And then this is the little bit where, so she says that she still wants to work through her pregnancy like she has for the last two. I expect no less. We both enjoy our current schedule and it won't shift. Mondays, I'm at the Cobalt Inc. offices in Philly. Rose works at home and watches the kids. Tuesdays, Rose is at Haleco or her boutique in downtown Philly, and I work at home and watch our kids. Wednesdays, we're both home together. I very much like Wednesdays.
Yeah.
And then Thursdays are a repeat of Monday, Fridays are a repeat of Tuesday, but I love that we already see the importance of Wednesdays to the Cobalts already.
Where it starts.
Yes, this is the very first mention of it. And then she asks, when you were a teenager, did you ever fantasize about me sexually? And then they're interrupted that Jane needs help reaching the sink and Rose needs to go take care of Beckett and Charlie. I'm not sure if she'll ask the same question again. I can't promise that I'll bring it up soon, but we have years, many, many years together. Question is unanswered for the moment. All right, so then we have chapter 5. It is now another month later, August 2018, and it's Lowe's POV. They're at a golf club and they're doing like some charity golf tournament, and Maximoff is there, and it's all the guys, Reich, Lowe, Connor, and Moffy, and the girls aren't allowed. They're very upset that there was a sexist stipulation that the girls weren't allowed to attend, and that no one was more upset than Rose or Reich. And so Moffy misses the fact that Jane can't be there to hang out with them. Like Connor would have brought her otherwise. But it's the remembrance of like that if Jane had like they would bring their kid, Lo and Connor would bring their kids to this golf tournament, and it was something that Greg and Jonathan did for Lily and Lo, that before they were ever together, they were best friends, just like Moffy and Jane are best friends, and they would get dragged along to their dad's work functions, charity functions. Just that tiny little parallel there. But Lo sympathizes with the fact that Moffy is incredibly bored. They have to be there because they have a lot of money. I say this as something to just, keep in the back of your head. We're here because we're really, really lucky. You, me, and your mommy, your aunts and uncles, we all have a lot of toys and nice things, and we take time to give back. Do you want to help kids who might be sick or who don't have as many toys as you? Moffy nods almost instantly, faster than I would have as a kid. our little philanthropic Maximoff Hale. We'll see that continue. And we see...
Is that why the bug people follow us? Because we have a lot of toys. Love that he calls them, that him and Jane call them the bug people.
I know. The paparazzi. He says, like, Connor said it was ironic that they dehumanized the Core Six and her children are beginning to dehumanize them. Yes. And we kind of see, so like, we see another moment of how they raise their kids, that when Jane asks, what's a guillotine? Rose and Connor are like, it's a device used for execution. But when Mafi asks Lo, why are all these people following us? Lo's like, I can't tell him. We're famous because mommy is an heiress to a soda empire and someone told the press about her sex addiction. He says, you know why they follow us? Because they love you and they love your cousins and your mommy. And he is the kind of dad that doesn't want his kid to hurt, that the truth is very painful and he would rather not hurt his kid and just like let his perception be a little skewed while he's young and innocent and doesn't know any better. He'll find out when he's older, but let's preserve that innocence for a little longer. And that's the way Lo's raising his kids. And we just see like these tiny little moments of how they are so different in their parenting styles.
Yeah.
And then we see Mafi is just so bored, and Lo takes pity on him. So they grab the golf clubs and they pretend to be Jedi fighters with their lightsabers, and they're gonna fight each other with the golf clubs. And Maximoff like stabs Lo. He got me. Jedi Knights always win. How did you get so smart, Mommy? My heart. And then Reich pulls Mafi aside so that like they're just being real slow on the golf course. They are not taking this golf game very seriously. They're gonna let the kid try and hit the little 3-year-old try and hit the ball off the tee. Lo is getting messages from members of Hilco, and he talks with Connor about how he feels like he was mostly put in place as the Hilco CEO to be a figurehead and less the guy that makes decisions. That like Daniel Perth is messaging him and he's like, it's not his job or any of the goddamn boards to take this kind of meeting. He's not part of the management team. So like, why is he messaging me about this and acting like I'm not in tune with my company? You're keeping me out of the loop. And he expresses his frustration with Connor. And then Connor's like, you're not doing a bad job. Like, you're a young CEO and a Nepo baby.
Yes.
Essentially. And you will have to fight for respect. That Connor kind of had to do that, but, you know, he's Connor Cobalt, so his experience wasn't as challenging because he was built for that kind of thing. And Lo is maybe not necessarily built for it, but it doesn't mean he's doing a bad job.
And he does kind of tell him, like, I had some time when I was, like, interim CEO where, like, it took them a little time to trust me, but...
Yes. I spent years preparing to take over my mother's company. It's what I aspired to do. I also make difficult things look easy. No one can do what I do. And it's not a fault of your own, but just a testament to how skilled I am.
Gotta throw that in there.
Yes. And then Lo's like, in short, Connor Cobalt is a god. Don't touch him. You can touch me, darling. And then he says that I pocket my phone under the new belief that respect may take years, but it's years worth fighting. And oh my gosh, Lauren Hale, like the fact that he's looking years down the line, wanting to be the CEO, the fact that he's like willing to fight for respect, like he is not the same man that we met in Addicted to You, that he wants to put in this effort to be taken seriously as the head of a Fortune 500 corporation. Like, you've grown so much. I'm so proud of you, Lo.
Yes. So much.
That's gonna be the mantra for this entire book is you've grown so much.
Literally.
Insert core 6 name here.
Yeah.
I'm so proud of you.
It's just like this whole book is just like seeing their growth, like from
the very beginning.
Shows, like, yeah.
Yes, I love it. It's like such a satisfying look at character growth and character development and just a whole character study in general. I love it. That's what I enjoy reading, is just seeing
Mm-hmm.
these people put in a certain situation, how do they react? And I love it. Okay, so another month has gone by. We're in September 2018, and this is Daisy at Lucky's Diner. And she is on a Skype call with Willow. So we haven't talked about Willow yet, but as a recap, she was originally introduced to us as Lo's half sister, his mom's side. And then in the last book, we found out that she is actually Jonathan Hale's daughter as well, which makes her Lo's full sister and then Reich's half sister. And at the very end of Long Way Down, her fake dad, how do I want to put that? Jonathan was established as not just like her biological father, but like in the eyes of the legal system, she is now his daughter as well, so she can receive like healthcare benefits and that kind of thing. And she's taken the Hale last name. And we also learned that she wanted to go to London to go to college. So right now, Daisy's on a Skype call with Willow while Willow is in London at her first semester of college. And it's so sweet. Like, Daisy was very worried about, well, Willow's about to go off to college. And like, that's obviously a place where people go and make these lifelong friendships. And Willow might go over there and find a new best friend. She was my best friend, but she might find a new one to replace me. And Frank's like, she probably will make other friends, but you're not losing anything when that fucking happens. You still have a friend. He was right.
I love that. I love that. I wrote right with the wise words. I think that's so like what like Daisy's fear is so like I don't know, like
Valid.
it's valid, you know, like feeling like, you know, a friend going off, especially when you're like separated and like feeling like, oh, well, they're gonna meet new friends and then like I won't like what if I'm not her best friend anymore? What if I lose her? But like
Mm-hmm.
no, like Rick being like, no, like and she probably will meet other friends because like I mean hopefully she does meet other friends because you don't want her to like not meet
Yes.
anyone over there. But like that doesn't mean that like you don't still have her and that she doesn't still have you because like you have this strong friendship. So like you're still gonna have each other. And
Right.
that's what happens. Like she will
Yeah,
always be her friend. So I think that's
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, their friendship isn't based solely off of the fact that you were in proximity to each other. It wasn't just the fact that you were there and convenient as my friend. You have a true deep connection, and that doesn't go away with distance. You'll always still have her as your friend, Daisy. So they are Skype calling at Lucky's Diner because Willow wants Daisy to look at this Tumblr questionnaire that her boyfriend Garrison, whom we met in Addicted After All, he was the neighborhood kid that, you know, terrorized the Core Six, but he's turned a new leaf. He's a much grown kid now. He's learned his lesson. And we saw at the end of Long Way Down that he got hired by Cobalt Inc. So he has to stay in Philly. He's going to like create some startup project under Connor's company. We don't know much about it at all, but it means that Willow and Garrison are in a long distance relationship. And Willow and Garrison they're the big internet lovers. And so she wants Daisy to check out a Tumblr questionnaire that Garrison filled out unprompted. Usually she has to ask him to do these Tumblr questionnaires, and it's very unusual for him to do this on his own, and his answers are a little concerning. But I love that she's like, please look at this Tumblr questionnaire. Let me know what you think, Daisy. And she goes, I found something. Your zodiacs are very romantically compatible, even stronger than a Pisces and a Virgo. And Willow's like, you're supposed to be looking for the bad signs. She's like, you gotta look for all the good ones too. But then it's the average hours of sleep. IDK used to be about 7 to 8. It's less, so whatever. Last Google search, what time is it in London? Relationship status, broken heart. I choke on my soda. He really just put a fractured heart there. And we see siblings, 3 brothers, be happy they're not yours. That's something that we've seen a little bit of him talk about how his brothers are kind of not great. This is another indication. Love or lust. Lust doesn't hurt. Met a celebrity. I think I might be becoming one. And then we see that now that Willow has become a Hale. She's a little more in the spotlight now because she is attached to a very famous, like her brothers are very famous. So her fame has risen, and that means that Garrison, in relation to Willow, has also become a little more famous. But Daisy's like, I just think he really misses you, and I don't think it means he's ready to get over you or forget you. And Willow's like, I just want him to be happy, but I want him to. And then we get this bit. We had sex, she suddenly blurts, her cheeks ashen. Willow, hail! I say with a gasp, smiling widely. I high-five my computer screen. She timidly high-fives her screen in reply.
I love the high five.
And she was supposed to tell Lily first, but Daisy gets to be the one to find out. Like, which I think is funny because Lily wanted to know Willow's first kiss as well. She promised that she'd tell Lily, and it still happened that like Willow's first kiss happened in front of the rest of the group. So like Daisy still got to find out in the moment, and now she still gets to find out that her best friend had sex first before her sister knows. It's okay, Daisy. You're like very solidified as Willow's best friend. Lily can't take all of these moments from you.
But she's like getting information first, which Daisy I feel like doesn't always get or feel like she gets like in the know or is the 1st one to like, you know, feel like she's getting like the information or like being included. So it's like you're the first to know.
She's the one with the information at this point. But Willow's afraid that was that goodbye sex because they had sex before she left for London. And now she's in school and she's not seeing him, and she's worried that was goodbye sex. And Daisy's like, well, you just have to have sex again and then it won't be goodbye sex. But I love that like Daisy helps Willow feel like she's more scared. She admits that she's like even more nervous to have sex with him again. Daisy's just like reassuring her that like, you know what, you found your person, you were very comfortable with him, this wasn't a mistake. And she like thinks back on there were definitely guys that she wished that she didn't sleep with, and it took her a long time to find the right person. She likes guys who emotionally care about her. She likes her wolf. And then the diner suddenly falls hushed, which can only mean one thing. And then I just try and picture these two men just like striding towards her. It's like probably very much her normal, but I'd be over here like, and then to Willow, we have company in the form of Mr. Broody Pants and Mr. I will butcher all living things with my eyes. Wanna see? And as the moose slowly amble through the prairie, all the antelopes perk up and admire their delectable horns and stout bodies. Ooh, ah, the antelopes whisper. Willow's cracking up. Lo is the moose can speak, and Lo's like, what the fuck?
He's like, you're weird.
But yeah, he can't hear anything about what's going on because Willow's got her headphones in and she can only hear Willow. But it's so sweet that the two brothers see their sister on the camera and they're just like, Willow, how are you? How's school? And it's the he actually asks 5 more questions, but they all have the same heartbeat. Are you okay, Willow? I love they've just taken to like having a little sister so well. Like essentially they both grew up as only children. Like Reich did know that he had a brother, but grew up in the only child. Like his lifestyle is still very much only child. And same with Lo. And the fact that they have adapted to having brothers and sisters, just like, yeah, I take it. I got it. I love it. But Willow asks for advice from Lo and Reich about what they need. She wants a guy's perspective on Garrison's Tumblr questionnaire. So Daisy shows them and Reich's like, what is that? And she goes, oh, Reich, he doesn't know what the less than sign plus the number 3. That's the heart symbol. And then I love the a broken heart, but you're both still fucking together? Yeah. Then why the fuck? He trails off at my wide eyes. Stand down, Reich. He's not very informed on Tumblr wit. I doubt he's even gone on Tumblr. He would have filled out this questionnaire very plainly. Relationship status, married. The end.
Like, I love that they're like, she wants like the guy's perspectives. It's like, okay, Reich has no clue what's going on. He's not a Tumblr questionnaire
Wrong
guy.
person to ask.
He doesn't know even what the broken heart like symbol is.
Very sweet that you want to include him, but I don't think he's going to give you any kind of like intellectual answer about this. It's going to take him a while just to interpret what Garrison is saying before he can give any solid advice. But I do think it's sweet that Daisy thinks, Lo is really the one who'd be able to understand Garrison. And very
Yes.
true. These two are so, so similar. And I love seeing that, that he understands him and like he wants to protect Willow, but like there is some part of him that empathizes with Garrison and what he's going through. But then Willow like spits out that she had sex with Garrison. And Lo's just like hand over mouth, very silent about this information. And they're good brothers. They like reassure her, like, were you that if it had been them, they understand where Garrison is coming from, that he is upset. It makes sense that he is upset at the situation, not at Willow. And I know this sucks, but you can't do anything, Willow. You just have to let him get used to the long distance thing. He will after a while. And if he doesn't, then maybe he didn't love you like you thought. Fuck him. And Daisy's like, let's all remember that we like Garrison. I just like the pendulum swing between like, yes, we get Garrison. We understand where he's coming from to, he better not fucking hurt my sister. I love you too.
Yeah, yeah.
But, and then Willow says, thanks. And I'm sorry. I didn't mean to bring up anything that make you guys uncomfortable. Lo and Reich start laughing. It takes a lot more than that, Willow.
It's like that's possible.
Yes, yes. And then the mention of way back in Addicted to You when Lo stuck his hands down Lily's pants to try and get Reich to leave.
Oh my god.
Not even that worked. And then they end their little Skype call, but they're gonna talk again tomorrow. I love how consistent they are with their phone calls. Even me and my long distance bestie. We didn't talk that often. I appreciate the commitment out of these two. Okay, so the last chapter that we're going to talk about in this episode is October 2018. And we are at the Cobalt Estate again. And we're in Rose's point of view. And she and Connor are playing chess in their bedroom. And she is trying to lose on purpose. That she's done something that she should have involved Connor in, and she didn't. And she is like, in her head, it means she's losing at chess so that like she gives Connor a win because she feels like she took something away from him. And it's this whole thing of Connor knows that she's purposefully losing. There's like a point where she has to make a move and she's taking too long, and she does something and he's like, why the heck did you make that move? There are like two other ones that would help you win immediately. And she's like, this is the move that will work that move fits my overall plan. And he's like, something's wrong with you. What's the capital of Norway? What's the capital of Estonia?
I also love, he said, like, she knew he was thinking, like, what's Rose up to? But she was like, I'm not about to simply tell him. I'll only be spoon feeding my infant children, thank you. And I'm like, that's so Rose. She's like, okay, I will, like, spoon feed my infants because, like, you know, they can't, like, do stuff for themselves. But, like, okay, he can, like, figure things out for himself. Like,
he's an adult.
I'm not giving him the answer.
Man. Yeah, he's a smart man. He goes on and on about how intelligent he is. You know what? He can fucking figure this out.
Yeah.
And it's very reminiscent of another time where she made him figure something out.
Yes.
But he like feels the need to quiz her on the capitals. Like, it's like his way of like feeling for a temperature. Like, are you feeling sick? Are you okay? I need to recalibrate like right now. And she does wind up losing the chess game. And he's like, something's off. This is not you. And we get this little bit where he's like, you know, he's quizzing her on on countries' capitals, and she's getting frustrated with him quizzing her. So she's like, I don't know what the capital of the Philippines is. And he's like, you let me win. There's no satisfaction in that. And you know every capital in less than a second. And we learn, like, we get this little backstory of this guy, Matthew Wellington, that went to Faust with Connor, challenged Rose in like a capitals, like, trivia quiz, and if she lost she'd have to give him a kiss, and Rose ended up winning, and she took Matthew's sunglasses and was wearing them, and she thought it was like every time I saw Matthew I wore the sunglasses to like rub it in his face. And Connor's like, yeah, well, Matthew was going around saying that like he gave them to you and that you two were like, did he say
that he lent them and she was wearing them because she was like infatuated with him.
Yes, that's it. Yeah. And did you dispel that lie? I called him out for twisting facts, but I still couldn't believe you'd play games with Matthew Wellington for a kiss. Because you hoped I'd play those games with you. You hated Faust boys, and I wanted to be the one you hated most. Translation, I wanted to be the one always on your mind. She's like, you've succeeded. I know. And so she has they've acknowledged the fact that he knows that she let him win. She can't hide her treachery, so she gets up and grabs her self-defense knife and lays it down. And she's like, you can stab me in the back like I've stabbed you. That she deserves punishment. And I'm sorry. I mean, she was kind of dramatic about it with Jane. But I'm over here like, oh my God, this is Rose and her loyalty. She's laying this down. Elliot was like this from the womb. This is where Elliot's crazy loyalty and all of his dramatics came from.
This is why the kobolds are so dramatic. They get it from Rose. There is a reason why they bleed loyalty.
But she wasn't hiding it, the rest of them from Connor. This one she hit, and the fact that she's got the knife down, I'm like, oh my God, this is just like Elliot. This is Elliot in the womb right now. Yeah, this makes sense.
Literally.
But okay, so Connor's like, no, not even hypothetically would I hurt you. I'm not stabbing you in the back. I'm putting this knife away. And she is dodging around it, that she took something away from him, that they had made a promise that they'd find out the answers, and he's figured it out, that she went to the doctor without him, and she admits that yes, she went to the doctor and she had to be by herself when she found out that she is pregnant with their fourth kid, which is very exciting because we like to see more cobalt babies. But just, if you were anything other than a torrid fire, you wouldn't be the woman I've admired and loved. I understand your reasons. I respect them and adore them because they belong to you. I love all the words he speaks. I'd rather have this moment with you than have any ordinary day with anyone else, Rose. I won't break another promise, so don't get used to it.
She's like, this is not happening again.
Yeah, no. This is a one-time thing. It was under very extenuating circumstances. Okay, I am very smart and I can keep a promise. I can be trusted upon. I am loyal. Do not question this. And he reminisces about the fact that, once again, this isn't unusual for her, that she has kept a pregnancy a secret from him before. And he's reminiscing about that. I've never been more captivated by a person in my entire life, and that time only furthered my belief. You have a place in my heart no one else could ever have. I love it. So she says, I'm pregnant. I had to find out alone. She's probably only it's October. So she's roughly 4 to 6 weeks along, because they said she conceived in September. So he forgives her. I'm here with you now, Rose, and anything else sounds too predictable to belong to us. Translation, ordinary is boring, darling. And then he kisses her, and it's a very gentle kiss, and not at all what she wants or likes. You didn't think I'd take you deep and hard, did you? I thought you'd be a mediocre narcissist with terrible hair, which you are. Mediocre? Terrible hair? You could have picked less obvious lie. I love their banter. This whole bit, he's being very gentle with her, and he's getting her aroused, and he's being incredibly gentle about the whole thing. But this whole bit, it's not a new tweet, but I recently saw it pop up where it's it was on Pinterest, and it was a tweet someone saying their favorite sex pose, and it's missionary, so we can look at so that we can keep arguing face to face. And I'm like, yes, this whole thing is Rose and Connor arguing with each other while having sex.
Yeah.
Because he's like, who even said I wanted to kiss you? Who even said you were smart? Princeton said I was smart. I say that I'm smart. And she's like, I loathe your face. Such lies, darling. And he's building her up because he wants her to say something else. What am I? Run of the mill, typical, common. What am I? Maddening. What am I? A god. And then he takes her a little rougher. And at the end of it, she goes, I think I just had this strange nightmare. What made it a nightmare? I called you a god. Then your nightmare is my dream. All my dreams are realities, darling, and your dreams are my dreams. And okay, so that is the end of the 2018 chapters. So we are going to end the part 1 of the Some Kind of Perfect discussion here. And we will pick back up in next week's episode with part 2. And hopefully we will get through 2019 as much as we can. But until then, continue to stay addicted to Krista and Becca's writing like us.